I'm Lizzy O'Connor. I am a nurse and a musician. Not always in that order.
So what actually music gives you when you're kind of overwhelmed after your job as a nurse? What music brings to your life then?
Oh, it's just an absolute switch off. Like I find there's no other way of making the brain just shut down to everything except for the task, which is music. And so I think even if it just, in the same sense as some people might manage when you daydream, you have that nice kind of restful place in your mind, but you can't always summon that up, especially if you're stressed or something's happened. But as soon as I start either playing something or singing something, it's really quite incredible how your brain just shuts off everything else and allows you to channel into just the music. And so it's a really good way of switching off.
Do you remember where did it start and why, and how did it affect your life before your adulthood, if you like? Because that's probably where it started. Am I right?
Well, it's interesting. So my dad plays guitar and sings, and although my mum, she doesn't tend to listen to a lot of music now, but I can remember being a kid, like we had the record player and she would put the records on us, things like Andrew Lloyd Webber, Song and Dance, and my dad would have records like Love or Legion, Leaf, stuff like that, so folk stuff, all kinds of music, and it was quite a big part of our lives as kids, just growing up and actually listening and dancing like lunatics around the living room. So I guess I knew that was always a fun way to connect with something different. And my dad, he taught me to play the guitar when I was a little bit older. That was because, so my older brother, I'm from a very big family, and my older brother, who I idolized at the time and used to follow him around doing everything, he wanted to learn to play guitar. So I was like, yeah, then I'm going to. So probably quite young, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9, started learning the guitar from my dad. Having aspirations, imagining I was in a rock band with my brother, all that kind of stuff. It was really good.
The dream came true, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You started playing music, and then why did you keep going it? Because a lot of kids, they start playing and they're not interested anymore, but obviously it hooked up with you. So what the music gave you, what the playing and learning music gave you, what sort of I don't know, pleasures, skills, what was it?
Well, it's funny because so my brother and I, as I say, I was quite into heavy metal when I was younger. I used to like Metallica and Iron Maiden. I guess it's not hardcore heavy metal, but we used to really like that kind of stuff. Then we liked indie stuff. And then when I was about 15, we went to a ceilidh in the kind of church hall. So where I'm from, up north, it's a small town called Consett. It often gets called Little Island because there's so many Irish people there. And I guess it felt like it just clicked. I tuned into this like Irish music and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I love it. And my older brother was a bit surprised. He's like, oh, what about the heavy metal? But so I quite soon joined this something called, although it's quite sexist really, it's called the Brotherhood of Irish Music, but it's Cultus Kiltory Nair, and it's an Irish association. And I joined that when I was a teenager. And it's funny you should ask what the emotions about the music were, because I can remember like when I was a teenager doing an interview for the radio, because we were doing some kind of show with all the music and the stuff, and there's a great following of Irish music up north, and the interviewer asked the same question, why do you like Irish music? And my only response was just, oh, it's just got excitement for you. And everybody laughed like, what a ridiculous phrase, but I think it's true, and I think it's never changed in all these years. Music has got it's just exciting to me, and it gives you adrenaline, it gives you I don't know, a real satisfaction, like just such a deep satisfaction that I've never found in anything else. And I feel you're able to carry that through. Like, it's like when you sing or anything, no matter how you feel before you start singing, it just resets your brain. And I think that's the greatest gift that, in a sense, music gives to me, that it's able to do that for me, even since being a kid. So yeah, in the Irish music, whatever kind of music.
Lizzy, well, you said you were learning music, you were learning different instruments, and so when you think, like, what sort of skills, except musical skills, learning music taught you?
Oh, I guess definitely discipline. Guess I had to practice every week, and diligence, and
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, just like striving to not giving up, because some pieces were so hard, whether it's something on the guitar or something on the piano. Some things were so hard you wanted to give up, but I guess, so I've got used to that repetitive way of learning, and
Right.
it's taught me an endurance, I think, that I don't give up easily.
Patience, probably, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because well, we know learning music that there's not always everything sounds great. There's a lot of times you need to repeat over and over and over again. You know, my husband sometimes when he's listening, when I'm doing in the studio, like, you know, working on some piece of music, and they go on and on and on. It's like, how can you understand it? How can you stand by with so many times? I heard that like 1,000 times today. And we're still
Yeah.
going, right? Until it's perfect, until we love it. How about your sort of self-confidence, self-esteem? Did you think that it affected that part of your life?
Yeah, and I think it taught me, I guess, a way to, I think part of it's my character anyway, but it taught me a coping mechanism, if you like, for having to be either standing up, speaking in public, or just to assert yourself, because in music you're used to your part having to be heard. And if it's not heard, then it's just, there's no point in it. So I guess it has taught me to assert myself, and almost, there is, I'd say, a facade that I put on when I do music, so that I can switch off and just not feel self-conscious. When I first joined the band, and that was a proper band in London. I say proper band because I'd never really just stood as part of something without an instrument. I used to be able to hide behind an instrument, and I used to wear really crazy face makeup when I first started that, because I was absolutely shitting a brick every time I had to get up on stage and sing or anything like that. And that's only changed through doing it repeatedly. So I guess, yeah, performing in front of people has definitely given me much more confidence.
So performing, learning music, what sort of skills brought, and how did it help in your job as a nurse?
Okay, yeah, so it definitely gave me a lot more confidence and the importance of getting my message across. So both with music and in nursing, even if you don't necessarily feel that confidence underneath, you might be nervous about the piece you're going to perform, you might be nervous about what you're going to tell the patient, or make sure you appear and calm in a situation. So I guess I use that same skill, if you like, to just tune into what I've got to do, put the face on, and deliver what I'm delivering.
Songs are stories about someone's life, someone's feelings, right? There's nothing else but stories. If people sometimes don't think that way, but songs telling stories. So when you were listening to other people's songs, were there any tunes that spoke your kind of stories, feelings in certain time of your life that really spoke through you? Like when you listen, so when you were listening to it, you were thinking like, oh gosh, this is actually a song about my life. Tune into your situation in your life very clearly and very kind of straight into the point. Were there any songs like that? Do you remember?
I guess it's that funny thing, isn't it? You usually, I think the time you quite often tune into music is when your emotions are high. So and I think all people do it. The classic being when you're going through a breakup and you're like, every song you listen to, you're like, oh my god, that's about me, that's exactly what's happening to me right now, or like, you know, that's what's gonna happen, and it's as if it's been written for you. I can't think of any particular albums right now that were like that for me, but I think whichever album I would choose at the time, I would just listen to over and over and over again until I knew every word and kind of really believed that was part of what was my message that was being conveyed. And that was nice because it was putting your message out there without you having to do it, or your emotions out there without you having to connect and tell somebody directly. So a really good vehicle like that.
So maybe only once I'll tell you how it feels. I'm getting closer to the truth. Tell me why you can finally get me out of your head. Let me go my own way, without you, you have no power. Tell me why did I meet you? Must be lessons to learn. Every time I'm getting closer to the truth, you have no power. Tell me why you can finally
I can remember, I think one of the first albums that I got was Tanita Tikaram. I never know how to say the surname, Tikaram Tikaram. And that was a great album. I was probably about 13 or something, and just used to listen to that over and over. A particular song, there's a good tradition of love and hate, and I just used to love that for what it kind of evoked, the idea of dancing around with your family or being by the fireside, being a bit melancholy but being a bit happy at the same time. That was definitely a song that I would go back to, and bring really good memories.
Lizzy, and the last question. Look, in your job as a nurse, would you see musical activities, whether in hospitals or for these people who you look after, would you see any help from music, like direct help from music in there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a universal kind of proven thing that singing makes you feel better, that music makes you feel better even if you don't feel like it. So we sometimes have activities with the patients, because where I work now it's a bit more chilled, so we have it's like rehabilitation, so we sometimes even have a karaoke with them.
Right.
Yeah,
Great.
well, there's always music playing. There's a radio in the kitchen, or we'll, like, if they haven't got music in the room or we notice they're not listening to music, or certainly I do, I'll make sure that they've got a radio or something. And it's amazing to see the transformation that that brings to people. Just really lifts the mood. It's really, really powerful.
But did you have some performances at the hospital, actually? Did you see, because I know a few charities in the UK, like Music in Hospitals, there are great musicians who actually coming to hospitals or residential homes, and they play music, they sing with these people. And I've been one of them a few times. I went to residential homes for elder people, and the transformation in people who couldn't remember their names, but they still remember the lyrics of songs that I was singing with them. There was something absolutely extraordinary. So did you see in your place of work, or would you see something like that?
Yeah, we do. Certainly where I used to work, like in the Royal, well, a long time ago in the Royal London, they used to have performers come into the outpatient department, and that was great because quite often people are waiting there for quite often for really bad news, or they're tense, the waiting time seems long, and having a television there can often just be, it can be news or something more negative. So when you've seen performers playing there, you can, the mood just in general feels lighter, because people are distracted. They're not only listening to something, they've got something to watch. And in a funny sense, even if it's not their bag, they don't really like that kind of music, it's still something that's just challenging them to take on board what's happened, rather than worrying about the appointment and what's going to happen next, and oh my god, how long have I been waiting here and stuff. That was really good in that situation.
And now is the very last question. So Lizzy, is there any musical skills that you still haven't learned, but you wish you will learn? You still, it's sort of unfinished business, if you like. Would you like to learn something more about music? Something to play? I don't know. Where would you?
Yeah, loads. I'd still love to learn loads of instruments. My fantasy would be to be a drummer. I'd absolutely love to be a really cool drummer.
I already heard you at our second edition of Music for Life. You sort of played drums.
Yeah, I did.
Feel that time with his hammer in his hand. Well, he looked quite clever.
You did it already.
I really like it. Yeah. I think drums are a great instrument because they're so visceral, and you can really put the energy into it, and you can't be afraid. You have to go with it. I've played them a little bit, just a broken down kit with Nadine Coury and MG Bolter, and it's a really interesting challenge to you have to be heard. You can't quietly tinker around on the background like I sometimes do on mandolin or something. It's like, no, you are keeping this shit together. So that would be my fantasy. I'd love to play the drums.
No, well, let's say, tell me later on when you're gonna start it, okay? Because I would love to have you as a drummer next time.
Sounds good.
Oh, sounds good. You would go with us on tour with Sounds Like Women as a drummer. So listen, thank you so much for today, for finding this moment. So many beautiful countryside. Where are you right now?
I'm at the wetlands.
Oh,
Out at Walthamstow. I'm very lucky. It's 10 minutes from my house on the bike, so it's beautiful.
fantastic. Look, thank you so much for this lovely conversation. And,
Pleasure.
Keep playing music, and please promise me that you will learn drums, okay?
Okay.
Because I really want to be in a band next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Good luck to
Luiza.
you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
You as well.